I was elected to lead the Democratic Republic of the Congo, I have fought tirelessly each day for peace and security in the Congolese provinces of Ituri, North Kivu, and South Kivu. Adhering to a philosophy of reconciliation with our neighbors, I spared no effort to assure the heads of state of neighboring countries and restore confidence between us, particularly through constant consultation on issues of common interest, the conclusion of security cooperation agreements and economic partnership agreements, and the implementation of development projects for our respective populations. Despite my goodwill and the outstretched hand of the Congolese people for peace, some of our neighbors could find nothing better to do than thank us through aggression and by supporting terrorist arms groups that are ravaging the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This is the case currently of Rwanda, which, scorning international law, the UN Charter and the Constitutory Act of the African Union, has once again not only taken aggression in March against the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the form of direct incursions by its armed forces, but also occupies areas in the province of North Kivu via a transplanted armed terrorist group, the 23rd of March movement, the M23, to whom they provide massive support both in fighting materials and also in manpower and troops. And to challenge the international community, the M23, with the support of the Rwandan army, even shot down a MONUSCO helicopter and killed 8 blue helmets, and in so doing committed a war crime. In this emblematic location for international life, I tirelessly denounce this latest act of aggression that my country has fallen victim to by its neighbor Rwanda under cover of a terrorist group called M23. Mr. President, the involvement of Rwanda and its responsibility for the tragedy my country is experiencing and the tragedy of my compatriots living in areas occupied by the Rwandan army and their allies from the M23 are no longer in any doubt. Since more than once, groups, panels of experts mandated by the UN and the expanded joint verification mission of the International Conference of the Great Lakes region, as well as international humanitarian non-governmental organizations and human rights organizations, have established in documented and objective reports which attain the highest standards of academia and science. To dispel any doubt for the community of nations and put an end to the denials of the Rwandan authorities on this subject, the Congolese government asks the President of the Security Council to officially distribute to members of the Council the latest report of the UN group of experts on the security situation in the east of the DRC, and to ensure that it is considered diligently by the Council to draw the full consequences from it in the context of international peace and security. It is a question of the very image and credibility of our organization. To do otherwise would, on the one hand, mean encouraging Rwanda to continue its aggression, its war crimes, and its crimes against humanity in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and on the other, to further feed legitimate suspicion of the Congolese people when it comes to the impartiality of the UN, as well as the complicity of some of its members in these crimes. It is to bring an end to this suspicion and to dispel the ambiguity of some positions of the Security Council on the security crisis in the east of the DRC, an ambiguity which is frustrating the Congolese population and exacerbating tensions between them and the UN stabilization mission in the DRC, MONUSCO. It's for that reason that my government has asked for a re-evaluation of the progressive responsible withdrawal plan of this mission. This request for adjustment is required by the unanimous agreement, even at the highest levels of our organization, over the regrettable shortcomings of MONUSCO. These shortcomings undoubtedly impact the effectiveness and the legitimacy of the UN's action in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Re-evaluating MONUSCO's withdrawal plan can consequently in no way undermine relations between my country and our organization. Whatever the case may be, I declare loudly from this rostrum at the highest international body for the management of the world's affairs, I would like to declare the determination of the Congolese people and of its leaders to always defend to the very last the territorial integrity, independence and sovereignty of their country, in respect, of course, of international law and the commitments made within the international organizations that it is a member of. This is also an opportunity for me to clarify that the Congolese state and Congolese civil society will never allow anyone to engage in tribal, ethnic, racial or xenophobic hate speech in our country. The Constitution of the Republic and the laws of the DRC prohibit such speech and punish it severely. Nobody can thus claim that this discourse is happening and use it as a pretext to justify criminal adventures in the DRC, divide the Congolese people and weaken national unity, something that all of my compatriots adhere to fiercely. The DRC is not and will never be a country that commits genocide. What's more, I support the fact that the alleged collaboration that I would say that the alleged collaboration that some Congolese officials may have allegedly with Rwandan opponent figures from the Democratic Liberation Forces of Rwanda, the FDLR, which the Rwandan leaders are using to justify their repeated aggression against the DRC, is nothing more than an alibi, or an excuse, which is corroborated by no proven information on the ground. The FDLR has been decapitated and reduced to nothing by the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the FARDC, in close collaboration with the Rwandan army as part of joint operations conducted a few years ago. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has also repatriated several elements of the FDLR and their families. And so the Congolese people are now asking themselves, what FDLR are we talking about? What size of territory, occupied Rwandan territory, does this phantom FDLR occupy? What precise part of Rwandan territory has anyone seen a Congolese soldier on? Whatever the case may be, the DRC remains ready to take action against any armed group that attempts to upset peace and security in a neighboring country in the Great Lakes region. Mr. President, the Congolese people ask the United Nations, the African Union, African regional communities and the partners of the DRC to no longer trust the shameful denials of the Rwandan authorities and instead to help rebuild security, build lasting peace, and to help create the conditions needed for fruitful cooperation in the Great Lakes region for the well-being of all. To this end, it is necessary to have the following. 1. Bring about the immediate withdrawal of the M23 from occupied areas, the return of displaced Congolese people from these areas to their homes, and the unconditional ending of Rwandan army support for this terrorist group, according to the spirit and the letter of the Luanda roadmap agreed between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, as well as successive statements from the UN Security Council, the African Union Peace and Security Council, the East African Community, and the Southern African Development Community, SADC. 2. Increase pressure on Rwanda and the M23, whose leaders are incidentally sanctioned by the UN, and be more firm in respect of those sanctions to ensure that they respect the positions of the aforementioned international organizations. 3. Support the continuation of the Nairobi peace process, the Luanda discussions between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, and the deployment of the East Africa Regional Force, the statute and the rules of engagement of which have just been signed on the 8th of September in Kinshasa by the Congolese government and the Secretary General of the East African Community on the one hand, and on the other by the FARDC and the commanders of this regional force. 4. Encourage the Honorary President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, and the President of Angola, João Lourenço, mediators from the East African Community and the African Union in the security crisis in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, to continue their good offices. 5. Lift any obstacle to the DRC restructuring its armed forces, to increase the power of those armed forces to better carry out their mission, including through the lifting of all restrictive measures limiting their acquisition of military equipment, regardless of the form laid out by the UN Security Council. Carrying out the aforementioned actions would undoubtedly ensure that the Congolese people would be certain of a settlement to the crisis and would facilitate constructive dialogue among all of the parties concerned about that settlement. Mr. President, we, the Congolese people, are now determined once and for all to put an end to insecurity in the east of our country, whatever the cost.